Hello, I'm Thomas Friesenhahn, and thank you for joining me for my speech on energy finance. The first thing to start off with is energy finance, and finance in general primarily deals with the management of money and investments. So that has everything to do with how you're going to manage the money and where that money is going to go. You're going to track the spending and the cost and properly allocate where that money should go in order to serve the best benefit. And in terms of energy, specific to my topic, that includes the management of different assets in the oil and gas industry, which includes like wellheads where the oil and gas is drilled from the ground, property leases, pipelines, and refineries. And those are all part of the midstream energy process. And to deal with finance in the midstream area, that primarily deals with all these different types of finance. And I wanted to add a list about other types of finance because there's a wide variety of it. Sports finance, insurance finance, banking finance, investment finance, and financial planners. Those are all different types of people that work with finance in different industries. Sports finance, they're going to deal with like basketball teams and soccer teams and stuff like that, with payroll, players, and other stuff like that, to where they can maximize their profit from the revenue generated from the arena. And of course, all the other ones, those deal with more industries where money is involved. So insurance finance, banking finance, they deal with a lot of the risk management and stuff like that. And investment and financial planners, they're going to look at the long-term financial side of it. And more on energy finance, there's three parts to energy finance: acquisition of new companies, development of those companies, and then the sale of those companies. So that's a very general outline of it. You're going to acquire new companies or form new companies around different processes, develop those companies, and eventually cash out and secure profits from those companies. And midstream in particular, that's what I'm studying this year. And they're going to partner with landowners and upstream companies, which is the first part of oil and gas. You have upstream, midstream, and downstream. You're going to build infrastructure in the midstream portion, and then you're going to facilitate the transportation of the resources to the refineries. And this little diagram right here shows upstream, midstream, and downstream. You're going to have upstream, which starts with the wellhead and the geological surveys. The midstream, which primarily deals with transportation and storage. And the downstream part is going to be the refineries and the eventual sale to the final consumer. And so what it means to be a financial manager. The scope of the job primarily deals with the management of money and investments, as I said earlier. And to be an energy finance manager, you're going to need a bachelor's degree with as a minimum, but a master's is preferred, as in most professions. 5 years of experience as a financial analyst or other related occupation. So that's kind of like your internship or training towards being a financial manager. You're going to work with them, kind of like a residency in medical terms, but you're going to work with them. They're going to kind of like check over your work and make sure everything's going well, but you're going to work under them, and most of the time you work as a team. So you'll have a manager and then the financial analysts and other people like that, which an accountant could be one of those people. And many people start as accountants and move into finance. Accountants all look at money in the past. They're going to add up the totals and make sure everything adds up. But finance deals primarily with the future. You're looking at profit expectations and other things like that, where you're going to see how much is this going to generate in revenue and other stuff like that. What we can expect in the future and other projections. And to be a financial manager, math and data are a big part of that industry. You're going to have to be good in math and be able to analyze data in quantitative terms. Understanding of market trends, analytical models, and future prediction models. As I said, finance deals with money in the future. So looking at all those models of what to expect and the different types of markets is a must. You're going to have to look at how much revenue can we expect this to generate and how profitable is that going to be on our investment. You want to manage risk, and so if you're going to have to put a lot of capital in to start the investment, you're going to expect more returns in the long term. And for the pay for a financial manager, the entry-level salary is $65,000, and the median salary for 2019 was $130,000. So that's a pretty good jump. And the pay for these industries, of course, always increases as you get more experience and you have an overall scope of the work. And particularly in midstream, the financial managers are going to research the projected acquisition and the people involved in it. You're going to want to look at who else is involved in this deal to make sure they're credible and you're not going to get screwed out of money. And you're going to research how much revenue can we expect this to generate. You're going to want to look at the geological surveys to see exactly how much oil and gas is actually in the ground and how much money it's going to cost to get that oil and gas to the consumer. Because you may have large deposits of oil and gas, but if it's not financially feasible to get that oil and gas to the consumer, it's not a good investment. And you're going to have to build models and projections for the profitability in the long term, short term returns, total cost, and cost of profit. I know that's a lot, but building these models helps you determine how much money this is going to generate and what we can expect for the future. You're going to look at short term, which is what it's going to get us to get it up and running, and the basic costs such as capital. The long term, which is going to be how much money our initial investment generates over the long term. So how much capital can we expect to spend in the first part, and then how much money can we generate from that capital. Because energy finance, it deals with a lot of upfront costs. You're going to have to build those pipelines, the pump stations, and other infrastructure. And then once that's all in place, you can expect to return on that investment in terms of long-term sale of the oil and gas. You're going to agree to a contract and begin construction on pipelines and pump stations, as well as other infrastructure. After you secure a deal with the upstream and downstream portion of the energy process, you're going to begin construction on that infrastructure in order to get the oil and gas from the wellhead to the refinery, and then the refinery to the producer. You're going to want to turn in a profit on that investment and secure profit at the desired point after that. After you go ahead and make a deal with the landowner, the upstream and the downstream portion of the energy industry, you're going to want to make money on your investment, of course. And after you recuperate your investment on that capital, you're going to want to go for the profit after that. And then once you feel like you've hit that special number where you've secured enough profit, you're going to go ahead and sell the company and go ahead and get out. That way you can secure profit without taking a loss in the long term. And then rinse and repeat. You're going to keep doing that all over the country and look at different opportunities of where it's most profitable. And it's not necessarily always the biggest deal that's going to be the most profitable. It's going to be the little deals, the big deals, and everything in between, because it all depends on what's financially feasible. And the midstream. You're going to start with the oil head or the well at the beginning. That's labeled by number 1. And then after that, you're going to look at the models and projections, which would be number 2. After you look at those models and you agree, like, yes, this is a good investment, you're going to go ahead and start construction on the infrastructure, which is the pipelines and the pump stations. These pipelines, you're going to have a bunch of little pipelines that connect to the wellheads and then to an even larger pipeline, which is where the pump station will be. And that pump station will connect to the larger pipeline and pump it all the way across the country if need be, or even short distances to the refineries, which we actually have a lot of refineries in Houston and Corpus Christi. So that's the midstream portion of it. And then of course you'll have the refineries down the road and the delivery to the consumer. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening. GoPro, stop recording.